Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Just a Conversation. This is the second one we've been doing of this series. Welcome back to anyone else who has heard the first one or even our Sunday chat. Just a quick reminder that if you enjoy this content, please make sure to subscribe and like or leave a comment. Up to you. And if not, just sit back and enjoy the show. Get your tea, get your coffee, whatever you need, and let's get started. So, Lenny, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, thankfully it's not too hot where I am. It's solid 18, 19 degrees Celsius. So,
Yeah,
I'm enjoying
yeah.
life. What about you?
Well, I'm okay. I mean, currently at the time of this recording, we are recording the same day we will be releasing this, so AMC is in the gutter. So I'm feeling a bit sad, But yeah, we hold. That's the ape movement, Hold in times of good and in times of not so good. So
Yeah,
we just keep moving. But in any
exactly.
case, today our prevailing topic will be podcasts and why they're so attractive.
Mm,
Obviously, we're trying to podcast, like Inception podcast, where we speak about podcasts during our podcast,
podcast. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just briefly speak about that. We have some other topics we want to discuss, but of course we'll just start with this. So I'm just gonna get the ball rolling and speak a little bit about what I think about podcasts
Mm,
and why I think they are a way of the future. So first and foremost, I want to say that obviously, if you're in Gen Z or millennial, it is highly likely that you are into podcasts because you like the idea of being able to multitask while being able to drown out the noise. So our generation has this tendency of believing that we are the perfect, multitaskers, even though humans have proven that we are terrible multitaskers. And of course, this phenomena where we literally cannot, live without having some sort of noise in the background, just to distract ourselves from our thoughts, I guess. So it is quite a very, very interesting sort of thing. And I think that's why podcasts have grown in popularity, especially because, you could listen to anything you want or any opinion in the world by anyone because you can just choose the person who shares your opinions and listen to them, or a person that you find funny and listen to them. And I feel like it's completely part of human nature, not only part of our generation to be curious about what people think, what people are doing. Just listening to two other people socializing already, I think, makes your brain feel like you're not completely alone. So I feel like that might be part of the phenomena. And yeah, so what do you think, Lenny?
yeah, I agree. Audio content allows listeners to kind of just do so many other things while just listening to it, So some of the recent studies show that basically half of all the listening to podcasts happens at home. A lot of it also happens while driving, while at work. So this kind of just proves this whole thing that you just listen to something in the background and you do your own little thing, which also brings me to the point that I think especially younger generations like our generation can't really live without some noise happening in the background. Like, of course, it's nice when you can get to relax and it's all just quiet.
Of course,
But
of
it's
course.
also so good to have. Not as good to always have something in the background, but it's just something that we constantly do. Like whenever I study, I have probably some classical music happening in the background. When I work, I have either some music or some video of someone talking, just like happening in the
Yeah.
background. So I think, like, especially as I said, the younger generations, we really really do that a lot.
Yeah, no, and I think it's just a thing of not wanting to feel like, you're not alone, and also the constant need for stimulation that our generation has. I mean, I think it also has to do with our short attention spans. I mean, a lot of the times you might just be listening to something, but you're not really listening to it, are you? You're just doing something completely different, and then you're catching parts of it, right? That's
Exactly. It's
what I feel like is so funny about humans as well, that we're so insistent on multitasking, even though we are really, really bad at it. So, like, for example, if you're listening to this podcast while cleaning your dishes or like working, usually most of your attention goes to the other thing you're doing and not the content you're consuming.
yeah.
Um, and it is definitely a very very interesting thing. And actually, when I was younger, I thought this was only a problem that I had, and I thought that I was just, I don't like feeling lonely, and I always need to have some sort of noise in the background. But as I discovered, with a lot of other people, have the exact same thing, and it completely
Mm.
makes sense, because obviously we don't want to feel alone. We don't want to, we don't want to completely have the silence, because then it makes us have to think about things, and that we there
It's
is
not
no
always the
stimulus
best.
there. So obviously it's not very attractive, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's super super interesting. And honestly, I think our short attention span is really changing also how we consume content at its core as well.
Yeah.
I feel like way back when, like let's say the 50s or the 60s, TV was an activity. Like you wouldn't do anything else, just sit down and watch the TV.
Mm.
But now I swear I'm watching TV, but at the same time I have that other screen in front, in the middle,
Yeah.
That's also my phone. Then I'm doing two things at once, I always have to be doing two things at once.
Mm.
And it's super funny, because it's just, it gives more space for advertisements to just, throw it in your face at all moments. Um,
Yeah.
endlessly during your day, because you just consume during your day now as well. You're
Mm.
just at home all the time. And it's just very very interesting how we literally almost cannot live without these devices anymore. I mean, I don't even want to know a world where all of this is taken from us from one day to another. I don't think we'd function.
Yeah, that would be an interesting social experiment to do that, especially to the younger generations when we spend so much time on our devices. I mean, on one hand, again, I mean, we can start talking about technology. It's great. It connects us. We have access to unlimited information, basically. But at the same time, we're so consumed by it that sometimes I catch myself, especially like, for example, for Apple users, you can see how much, how much your consumption is going up and down during, different weeks. It tells you like, oh, your consumption, of your phone went up, I don't know, 8%, for example, from last week, stuff like that. And sometimes I just see those numbers and I'm like, do I really spend this much, on my phone? This is, sometimes the numbers really, really surprise me. But, at the same time,
Well,
the
I mean, just to defend Android users really quickly, you elitist prick. We also have that, by the way,
no, of course.
and we get it every week as well. But I think the biggest thing with that number is, and I've played around with that number as well, is that, a lot of the times, like we're discussing, that content you're consuming is almost at times two, because like you'll be doing something on your phone, but you're also watching something. So at the same time, yeah, it is like, let's say, what, 5 or 6 hours a day or something. But then, like, also you were at the same time 5 or 6 hours doing something else that usually is related to more content. So
Yeah.
literally just pushing content down our throats at all moments, and it makes us feel so good for some reason.
Yeah, no, I
Just
agree.
to always have like different things coming into our brains and ideas and everything, and honestly not taking the time to just like focus all of your energy in one thing is, I don't think it's so much of a good thing, but I think it will become more and more popular for sure.
Absolutely, especially, I mean, that's where also, I mean, our main theme, podcast, that where this is where this comes into play as well, just having that background noise. And with the rise of iTunes and lately Spotify and other streaming services, you can literally have something happening in the background, listening to something in the background 24/7. I mean, there's just so much content that you can consume. I mean, for example, since 2005, there have been, just talking about podcasts, there have been 700,000 podcasts created with like over 30 million, episodes of content for you to consume. And actually, like a third of that has happened since mid 2018. So that like the content is growing exponentially, and there's just so much for you to consume out there that, as I said, you can literally just have it on 24/7 playing non-stop and you would never be able to listen to everything anyway.
But that's the thing, right? That we humans are hardwired to have FOMO, which is obviously the fear of missing out. And because of it, we almost feel obliged to consume almost all the content that we can so that we can have something to talk about at a later date or be able to say, oh, I watched that or I heard that, you
Yeah.
know? But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the times we don't look for content that we ourselves enjoy because of its, inherent value, but rather because of the value that society has placed on it, right? Like, for example, let's say Casa de Papel, Stranger Things, all of these kind of shows. I feel like almost everyone watches them because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like one person says it's really good, and then it goes into the web and the network of things that
Yeah.
are good, right? So it almost becomes this expectation of it having to be good, like, and you don't even build your own opinion on it anymore. It's just, society told me it's good, so it's good,
Yeah.
and you can see that in other places as well, actually, interestingly enough. I find myself, wanting to have the best of everything always. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will literally, like, before I go to a restaurant, especially if I'm traveling somewhere, I will literally choose which restaurant I want to go based on reviews, which is obviously, you could say, probably the best indicator of whether a restaurant is good or not. But at the same time, you're not building your own opinion and really, telling yourself that you like it because it is, but rather because of what people told you to like, right?
In a way, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I mean, there's obviously, especially now you have access to so much content, it'd be hard for you to just, have your own opinion on everything, because, I mean, it would just mean that you have to check out all of those things as well. So that's why
Of
you kind
course.
of, in a way, it's good that, you have other people's, opinions, ratings of like certain things. So that based on that, you can, also make certain decisions, be it
Of course.
semi-informed or not informed. But yeah,
Of
I mean, I
course.
agree with you. So it's always better to have your own opinion, but with the amount of
I'm
content,
I'm not
there's
saying I'm not saying don't watch something your friend told you to watch. All I'm saying is that I feel like, to a certain extent, it almost makes the discovery part of things start to disappear. Because
yeah,
if we all just follow blindly, then who will discover the next, something else that is interesting, right? Something that you find interesting for yourself, rather than just what the general public finds interesting.
yeah,
Of course, I'm not saying everyone is a cult follower. I'm not saying like everyone just follows society blindly. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I feel like society in general almost pushes us to, have to be a part of certain things or do certain things to be accepted in society. And because of that, I feel like sometimes we lose the opportunity to explore and discover. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? So I feel like when I travel, right? When I travel, for example, with my girlfriend, she really likes to plan everything out, right?
yeah,
And I really appreciate that from her, especially because I don't plan anything. But I feel like at the same time, there is a certain inherent value that you have when you discover something for the first time, just on luck and on whim. Like, if let's just say me and you, Lenny, take a trip to London, let's say,
yeah,
potential plan, and
definitely,
we go there, and instead of planning everything meticulously and making sure that at all times we're doing something, just really walking the town and experiencing it, and then doing something that, because you found it interesting and something caught your eye. I think that almost has more of an inherent value than just going somewhere blindly. Of course, it has a price to pay. Of course, it's a
yeah,
risk, I guess, to a certain extent. But at the same time, I do feel like there is definitely an inherent value to discovery, and also it opens up for avenues of, possibilities that you didn't even think of, or different activities that you didn't think of,
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, there's always that bit of pleasure when you discover something for yourself, something that maybe you even wouldn't find on different, review sites and stuff like that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I hope that our listeners kind of feel about that way about our podcast, like finding something small that, not a lot of people know, we just find it really cool. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed for that. But yeah, no,
Hopefully.
yeah, yeah. But that's kind of, I mean, when I travel, for example, just, I mean, staying on topic of travel is not on topic of podcasts apparently. A lot of the times what we will also do is like maybe in the evenings you plan something out, because obviously at the end of the day you're tired, you just wanna have something said, but during the day, you just kind of walk around, and if you find some cool places, I don't know, for lunch, for example, you found a cool place that you don't even check really any review sites or any maps, you just walk around and, maybe you'll discover some cool little gems.
No, definitely. I think there is a value to that, and to a certain extent, I do feel like that almost allows you to discover the culture more, and even more, even discover interesting people and be able to meet them. Because I feel like that opens that avenue. But yeah, I think in terms of this, we should move on to the next topic.
Sure.
So obviously, our next prevailing topic we're going to talk about is TikTok,
Yeah.
everyone's favorite new app, and how it's affecting the younger generation. So I'm just gonna hit the bat off, and then of course you can hit it back.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just want to say that I feel like TikTok is something that will influence the youngest generation's brains in a very different way, and something that we haven't seen before. I think it will be very interesting. The way that this content is being able to identify almost your personality and what you like most, and be able to identify relevant content almost to perfection that you would like, is scary, in my opinion. It is
Mm.
very scary. And obviously, it is a very, very, very attractive thing, because one of the, I guess, first world problems of our generation is, at a certain point, we don't find the content that really relates to us.
Yeah.
So having an app that perfectly does it for you seems like the perfect USP. However, at the same time, you are selling and giving away your data freely. And more than ever before, I feel like, because before it was mostly about, I mean, obviously, um, Google knows who you are. Google knows everything about you. Google knows where you've been, where you live, and who are your friends.
Hmm.
But now it's also going to know literally anything that you ever liked, anything that, like, all the little things that you like, so that it can advertise to you perfectly. And obviously, I don't mind getting advertised, to be honest. The part that really scares me is, what are you going to do with my data after? That's what I'm really scared of. What are you going to do if you know who I am completely? That's what really scares me.
Yeah, no. I mean, but the thing is, this has been happening even before TikTok. Like for example,
Of
Facebook.
course,
I mean,
yeah.
on Facebook, okay, if you're not, for example, I do have Facebook, but I'm not really that active on it, to be honest. I don't post anything. I
Yeah.
don't even go on it that much, apart from, certain groups that I'm in because I have to be in them. But there's people that constantly post on it that share a bunch of things. Like you can find people, and literally just from their posts and their profile, you can build a whole personality of, like, you can first of all see their picture, like you can see who they are, you can literally know their whole life story, their personality, what do they like,
Yeah.
what are their hobbies, who are their friends and family, so like this is not a problem that hasn't happened before TikTok. But I do think that TikTok, especially with its connections to China and everything, has kind of brought this whole problem to the foreground, and people really
No, yeah,
start paying
but
attention to that a lot
I
more.
think to a certain extent, TikTok takes it to another level in a way. And I might be, alone in this opinion. Of course, just reminding everyone this is just a conversation, So I'm not pretending to be completely informed on the topic, but I do believe that, for example, in Facebook, there are certain things that you give away voluntarily as a user, right?
Yeah.
You're literally giving that information, you're typing it in, and you know that it's going to Facebook. I mean, where else would it go, right? And you're almost exhibiting it publicly, right? But with TikTok, it literally almost is trying to find out who you are as a person, which is even more creepy to me in some ways, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not only about what your interest is, but what are your problems, who are you as a person? And most of us don't even know the answer to that, right? So the fact that an app is trying to find that out is very, very scary for me, because it will drive conclusions from every single thing you do. And it's something that I read about, that basically TikTok, no matter any movement you do, it will record it and drive, create predictive models on it, and always keep creating their algorithm better to know who you are, right? And that
Yeah.
that is scary, because, for example, let's say I'm swiping my For You page. By the way, I don't have TikTok, and but I do swipe Reels, which is not better. I'm just giving my information to the U.S. government instead of China, but I feel a little bit more secure that way. And then in TikTok, for example, I'm in my For You page, and the first TikTok that shows up, not interested, moving on. I don't even finish it. That it drew a conclusion from that.
Yeah.
Then another TikTok comes up, right? I watch it 3 or 4 times, but I don't like it. So that it also drives conclusions for that. And it records the amount of time you watched it, and it records the amount of, how much time you spent, or if you commented or not, and then you go to the next one, and then you like it, but then you only watch it once. That it also, comes up with data based on that. So every single movement you are making is being recorded, and it's just being made so that they get this perfect image of you, not only of your personal data, like where you live and what your general interests are, but rather who you are as a person, which is very scary for me, to be honest.
Yeah, of course it's scary. I mean, you don't want anyone else apart from you, maybe your loved ones and maybe your closest friends, knowing who you really are, right?
Yeah.
As a person. But so of course it's scary. But I mean, two things that I would maybe say about this is, first of all, I agree. I mean, TikTok definitely does that really, really well, but it's not alone in doing that. Not just talking about Facebook, but also, like if you look at Instagram, for example,
Of course.
when you watch certain reels, those will start popping up a lot more often. The ads get really, really customized to the point where
Yeah.
it's sometimes really scary, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes I just mention something in a conversation would.
I mean, that has happened to us
Yeah,
before together.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that whole point, and the
Yeah.
second the second thing is, and we've already discussed this in person together, is the kind of the privacy that the younger generation doesn't really, they don't value privacy that much, like because I mean the thing is that's what I love these conspiracy theories with, like the vaccines giving you a chip that's gonna follow you. I mean, you literally have a device in your pocket that knows you probably better than you know yourself,
Exactly.
and tracks you everywhere you go. So
Yeah.
I feel like the the privacy, they especially younger generations, we don't value it that much. I mean, of course, I mean, when I'm asked, oh, do you want your data to be shared with this and that, I mean, of course I don't want that, but at the same time, I have apps on my phone that I use, and I know they know a lot about me. So
Of course, yeah. No, I think there is there is a difference between TikTok and Instagram, and that falls where, if you're only using it exclusively for your, homepage and you're scrolling down, it will only show you what your followers do, right? And it will still track, like what you like and what you comment and everything, how much time you spend, when you swipe, whatever. It still, of course, tracks all of that. I mean, it will literally track probably your eye movements and everything. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think the biggest difference is that to Instagram, not talking about Reels, of course, because by the way, guys, if you didn't know, Reels is a copy of TikTok, literally. Instagram almost has publicly said it.
Yeah.
And it came after TikTok and after Musically, so it is inherently a copy of of TikTok. So excluding Reels, we're talking about OG Instagram. You only give the companies so much to work with, right? Like, okay, he likes The Rock, let's say, and then you just keep liking all The Rock's pages, and you're like, oh, maybe he'll like The Rock's product, But it doesn't really tell them much about who you are as a person. And I feel like when you go into TikTok, because the content all of a sudden is infinite, literally. I mean, you could scroll forever, and it's just all this distinct amount of content and everything. I feel like it gets to know so much more from you than before. And I'm not talking about personal information and everything, because all apps basically have everything about you in terms of who you are and where you live, but who you are as a person, that's the thing. Like that's my biggest problem with it. Yeah, but it's pretty interesting. But the other part of TikTok that's pretty interesting is how they perfectly found the amount of attention span we have, which is like true. Not more than 10 seconds, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it before with the podcasts and everything. I mean, the attention span is so short, especially with the new generations. I mean, it's even myself. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it's all the younger generations that have short attention spans. I mean, I know that I have a short attention span as well.
Yeah, I know I have a short attention span.
Exactly. I mean, if I don't find something that's, for example, I go on YouTube, if the video doesn't really catch my attention the first 15-20 seconds, maybe half a minute, I'm gone probably, I agree. I mean, they really figure out the little formula. And it's also, talking about attention span being short, it's also impressive what the creators are able to do with in that short amount of time, putting so much content into that 10 seconds.
And honestly, I really, I think that TikTok creators are very creative, but I think that TikTok is a very dark place as well.
Can be.
I've seen a lot of really dark TikToks and really dark comments on innocent TikToks, because it is so open-ended TikTok, and basically everyone is open for criticism. It's not like, where you can be a little bit private and then, usually when you're on TikTok, you want to be in the limelight. That's why you are in TikTok, right? Yeah. As a creator. So being that open-ended has its consequences, and the interesting thing about TikTok is it literally does not end. Like, it's infinite. Like on Instagram there is a limit. Like you can watch all the stories, you could follow like 2,000 people if you want, or like 100,000 even, but there will come a moment where you literally cannot consume more content, but not for TikTok. You just scroll infinitely. And I feel like that almost is horrible. I think that people can easily get caught in a vicious circle of just living their lives through, these little moments and skits. And the worst part is they're playing the perfect psychological game where it's, hey, you're not spending more than 10 seconds, and it's fine. I mean, it's just a 10-second video. What's the problem? But then those 10 seconds start piling up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you spend 2 hours. I mean, our flatmate spoke to us about how his experience on TikTok was. And how he ultimately had to delete the app because he just saw himself spending hours without noticing, just go by because you just get so consumed by the content.
Yeah, that's the little trap of infinite content. And yeah, I mean that's probably the best way to do it is deleting the app, because having it under control is it's tough to do.
Oh yeah, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of apps have caught to the idea that people want to have limited times on their devices, and they don't want to spend all their time on there. For example, Instagram, you can put a feature. I'm not sure if it's Instagram, but I know one of the major social media platforms now allows you to put in a feature where if you want to have a break at some point, you can. Like, you can just tell the app, like, okay, after 2 hours, stop me. And even your phone can do that.
Yeah,
To be honest,
I was
yeah,
about to
your
say.
phone can do that as well. But it's just a matter of putting that setting first on it. And of course they put it in the most obscure corner of the app, so you never find it. But still,
That's the
it's
point.
there. And if you want to control your app usage, then there you go. You can use that. So I think we should move on, because
Sure.
this was. I think there's not much more to discuss. So
No.
we're gonna briefly speak about F1 now.
I mean, it was an interesting weekend there for sports and everything, so definitely a lot
Yeah,
to discuss.
yeah. Big Orlando coming in third.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very, very proud of him.
I'm so happy.
Man's 21, has more money than we'll ever make in our entire life. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's also got so much talent. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy, and it's
Yeah,
also, I mean,
definitely.
what's really, I mean, not really surprising, but what's really entertaining for me is the amount of talent that the British have. I mean, Lando
Yeah.
Norris, George Russell, I mean, Lewis Hamilton as well up there. I mean, it's impressive. It's really impressive.
Definitely,
But
definitely. I think it's impressive, but also I think it's a thing of facilities
I
also.
mean, of course, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, F1. Let's be honest. I mean, as much. I mean, you can have a great amount of talent, but if you don't really have the money to compete in there, it's tough to get
No,
in.
yeah, yeah, no. I think speaking about this, like English talent being more. I just think that F1 is a more recognizable sport in the UK, as a nation, so they are
Mm,
more likely to be able to invest a lot more into training facilities um, and incentivizing the youth to be into the sport. But if we go Latin America, for example,
yeah,
or Asia, it becomes increasingly difficult to find suitable facilities to
yeah.
build these kind of athletes, because of course talent is a big thing in making an athlete, I think. But I
Mm,
think it's always the nature and nurture, man. It's not only the nature. I think
mm,
if you don't have the right coaching staff, if you don't have the right facilities, and if you don't have the right attitude, then I don't think you can be an athlete. It's not only about purely athletic ability. It's also about being able to train somewhere adequately, and also be able to be mentally fit to go and compete properly. So I think it's a combination of many things.
of course. I mean, I remember what my violin teacher said to me. It was, I don't know, we were preparing for a concert or a competition. I can't exactly remember it, but he always told me, it's 10% is your talent and 90% is going to be the work that you're going to put in.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the time I was young, I didn't really understand. And obviously, I mean, I left music school not long after that. But now that I'm older, I really, really see it. It's, you can be so talented, but if you don't also have the work ethic that these guys have,
So
it's a bit
let
hard to
me let me
succeed.
hear this straight. Your your teacher told you that you need to work hard to learn the violin properly, and then you quit.
No, no, I didn't quit right away. Of course, I mean, mate,
Oh my
I
God,
spent 9
Lenny.
years in the music school. I did compete
Sure.
on
Sounds like BS to me.
I competed on national, international level. Okay, just
Okay,
let
okay.
me be.
Everyone, round of applause for Lenny. the
No, but it's
professional
not about
violinist.
that.
Once you will have to play the violin for us.
Oh boy, no, 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 no. On the podcast as well, just to embarrass
Yeah, hell
myself.
yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll have a better mic by then. But yeah, by the way, if anyone's curious, we're still recording long distance,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not nice, I would say, especially because I can't see his face. So a lot of the times it just feels like I'm speaking to no one. But it I think it's going well, the podcast, and I'm having a lot of fun. So I think that's what really
Yeah, I mean,
matters.
and I hope that
I
the
know that
people
Lenny
listen.
isn't, so it's
What
okay.
do you mean? I love doing this. I'm having a lot of fun. I just hope that people listening to us are also, kind of enjoying the content that we're putting out there.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. I mean,
once,
if you're listening to this part of the podcast, which I would, it's in the middle, so we'll see.
yeah,
Just let us know if you're enjoying it. I mean, we'll appreciate it so much. We hit the big 10-0. Yes, sir.
let's
First
go.
milestone.
It is the first milestone.
Yeah,
It can go
hell
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
So no, but once
But
we'll be
actually,
together.
funnily enough,
Mm.
right? We have so many views, but we don't have any subs. So guys, sub. What is wrong with you? Sub.
Just go to it. Just go to it. It costs you nothing, and we really
We got
appreciate the
yeah,
support.
we got 400 views last time, and my mind is blown. I don't even understand how.
I mean, that's the power of football. I mean, we're chatting. For those who don't know, we also do these shorter episodes that we post on Sundays called Sunday Chats.
Yeah.
And last time we were talking about the Euro 2020, so about football. So if there are any football fans listening to this, you can go check that video out. We were discussing about the semifinals, some of our predictions, who are the really good candidates. So yeah, go check that out as well.
Yeah. And in terms of F1, coming back to, try not to get off too much to the rails,
too much. Yeah.
Currently, of course, the winners of the race were first place was Max Verstappen. He had a very strong race. From the beginning, you can tell that after the second lap, it was over unless Max Verstappen literally crashed into a
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
Man was flying. I mean, there was no way nobody was catching him.
Yeah.
Close, very far second is Bottas, which honestly, he had a pretty good race compared to all the other races he's had during the year. During the current season, I mean, he did pretty well. For once, Mercedes backed him instead of Hamilton, which of course led to the ultimate demise of Hamilton against Norris, which was an interesting tactic, but I have to give it to them. They put the team first, and I think that if they didn't let Bottas through, they would have just both gone past. So I think it was definitely the right call by the Mercedes team.
Definitely, it's. I mean, even though you have like separate drivers that people support and everything, in the end, it's still a team sport. It's still a team effort. I mean, there's you always see the drivers, but there's always like so much else happening in the background that people usually don't realize that.
Yeah, but come on, Lenny, you and me know that Mercedes be simping for Hamilton. It's just obvious.
I mean,
they love him so much.
Of course, but I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, if the guy brings you 7 world titles, it's hard not to sim for him. But we'll see what happens this year. I mean, the competition is really good.
I mean, now
really...
Max has 5 wins and Hamilton has only 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that Verstappen won both of his home races means a lot.
Definitely.
And I'm pretty sure he's going to keep on performing. You can tell that the Red Bull car has become pacier than the Mercedes car.
Yeah.
At least. Technically, I still think that the Mercedes car is better, but the Red Bull car is just pacier for now. And obviously, the Red Bull ring is all about pace and energy, like the drink.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, I think that it's well deserved.
Absolutely.
Current standing, and I think honestly I'll be more than happy to see him win. I think he has shown for the last 3 seasons that he really wants it, and he has the talent, so if he wins I'll be happy for him. But yeah, in terms of the standings though, Lando Norris is only 3 points behind Sergio Perez. Can you believe that? Even though Sergio Perez got a win, an actual win, Lando Norris is only 3 points behind him.
Yeah, and
what do you think of this, Lenny?
He already got 100 points, which is really, really impressive. I mean, he's such an amazing driver. there's so much
Well, I
talent
mean,
right there.
Hamilton said it during the race. He stopped halfway
Exactly.
through when he was driving, and he was like, "Norris, what an amazing driver."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, game recognizes game. He's
I mean,
amazing.
truly, he is a good driver. Right? He's fantastic. I mean, he's definitely up there with the future of F1.
Oh yeah.
As soon as Russell gets in a Mercedes car, I can't wait for them to butt heads with Verstappen as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is gonna be hopefully that move. It's not that I have anything against Bottas, of course, but would be
Bottas in
great.
the bin.
Nah, but it would be really cool to see to see some of these young talents really getting their chance in the big teams, basically. You know, that would
Yeah.
be really.
No, it should be interesting. I also think Nick Schumacher would probably be a force to be reckoned with in the right car, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
nature is also there. And I feel like also there is only so much you can do in a house. Like, literally, there is only so much you can do in a house. So I don't even think we've seen what Mick Schumacher can do yet. But yeah, and then Mazepin is in the bin as well. In the bin, for sure.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when, I mean, talking about money and everything, you know, if your dad can sponsor a Formula One team, you get to drive for one, I guess. So
Like Daddy Stroll as well.
like Daddy Straw. I mean, but yeah, but Lance at least says, you know, he has shown that you know, he is a capable driver.
Yeah, he is a capable driver. I mean, I was quick to dismiss it like 1 or 2 seasons ago. I mean, he is obviously a daddy's boy, but he is also a very decent driver.
Definitely.
I mean, to be able to keep up with Vettel in the same car is already a testament of how good of a driver he actually is, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
This comparison brought to light that he is a very, very, very decent driver. But I don't think he's near the level of Verstappen or Lando or Russell for that matter.
No, definitely not. I mean, let's be honest. Mazepin also isn't, you know, just absolutely terrible. I mean,
No, of course.
I mean, because the
fact
thing
that-
is, it's so funny for us to, you know, like talk about like, oh yeah, he's a good driver. He's maybe not that great. I mean, I know I couldn't do the things that they do. I mean, they've been doing this since they were kids.
No, of
Not a
course, but
chance,
I mean that you can say about anything. Then we can't criticize anything. I mean, then in football, I'd just be like, yeah, I can't do anything, man.
I mean, yeah, of course. It's just not. I just don't want to sound like, you know, we're.
No, guys. It's just a conversation, okay? We're just speaking BS. Don't take anything seriously.
Yeah, if you support any of these drivers that we're kind of slamming, you know, excuse us.
Yeah, but honestly, other drivers to note for me are Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo, and Gasly. Those 4 are honestly forces to be reckoned with, each individually for their own individual reasons. Ricciardo having a stinker of a season.
Sadly.
Gasly having a pretty good season, actually.
Yeah.
And Leclerc and Sainz are holding on for Ferrari's life, so they should be proud of themselves for being able to hold down 6th and 7th.
No, definitely.
In the championship.
Definitely, especially with Ferrari. I mean, not that I have anything against Ferrari, but it was. I mean, I remember last season was, you know, wasn't the greatest of seasons, and in the beginning of this season they weren't really impressing me. But then I remember at some point they just got so much praise, and for example in Monaco it was crazy. We're just getting poles and everything. It was.
Yeah, the 2 quali Leclerc poles were very surprising.
Yeah, but it was a welcome surprise in my opinion. It's good to see. It's good to see Ferrari back.
It is good to see something different. However, you can tell that the car cannot keep up with the untouchables. Yeah, exactly. Like even though you know, Leclerc starts first, almost immediately he is assumed to be 4th or 3rd because. I mean, Hamilton and Verstappen are just going to scoot by him very fast. And it's not a question of talent. It's just a question of the pace of the car. I mean, Ferrari still haven't figured out everything. And the funny thing is now everything's going to restart, basically.
Yeah.
Because of next season's new changes. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah. So also I think it was on the same day as the race, we can move into chess because, hey, we both played chess and there's some big news in the chess world as well.
Yeah.
So on the 4th, the same day as the race,
Yeah.
Aranyan won his gold money Asian Rapid tournament. I don't know if you were paying any attention to it. But
Well, no, the only thing I watch is, Lenny the GM. That's all I watch.
I wish,
Yeah,
I wish.
I did hear about it, but I didn't watch it.
No, okay, okay. I mean, because the thing is, it also was happening. I think it was during the time where Magnus Carlsen, for those who don't know, the current world number one chess player, celebrated 10 years of being at the top, which is, I mean, it's really, really impressive. Being the number one chess player for a whole decade is not that anyone can do, and
It's phenomenal.
no wonder. I mean, a lot of people are saying that he's probably the best to have ever played the game.
Yeah.
But speaking of GMs, we also have the youngest grandmaster ever, which is Abhimanyu Mishra. I don't know if you've heard, but he beat the record. And at 12 years, imagine becoming a grandmaster at 12 years.
He's 12.
He is, yeah, 12 years
Oh
old,
my
and
God.
a bit
We're
over 12.
useless.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy to see these young geniuses. I mean, really, because I mean, at the age that I am at, and it's just okay. I don't study chess, of course, because
Yeah, of
I'm not.
course.
I'm a fan, but I'm not gonna spend my
Yeah,
time
let's
checking
just
out
clarify
old
something.
games.
We're not chess pros or anything. We just enjoy the game and we learn a little bit about it, and I
Mm.
think we just enjoy the tactical part of it, and how interesting it is how everyone else plays it. But I don't think either of us are diehard, chess fanatics that spend every waking moment trying to figure out, different ways to get out of holes or whatever.
Yeah, no, no, no. I mean, I play it every day, but it's not like I only play like a game or two. I don't go study, games from 1975 or something.
We should study Napoleon's games, bro.
Oh,
That's how you win.
exactly. No, but he was so this guy, Mr. Mishra, was able to beat the record that was previously held by.
Why are you saying Mister? Isn't he 12?
Well, let's put some respect to the name. What were
Nah,
we
fam.
doing at
He's
12?
12.
What were we
Nah,
doing
nah,
at
nah.
12? We weren't
Well,
grandmasters
it
in
doesn't
chess.
matter, okay? He's not a Mister. He's a kid. Come on.
Well, still, I mean, he was able to beat Karyakin's record from 2002, which people thought it was never, I mean, not never going to be beat, but at least for a long time, because Karyakin became a GM at 12 years and 7 months old.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you have that. And he did that by defeating a 15-year-old Indian grandmaster. So Mishra beat the 15-year-old grandmaster.
Wow,
This
okay.
just speaks to, I mean, one thing, if you look at, the big names in chess, I mean, the Indian community is extremely, extremely strong. They have so many really good grandmasters and just in general, like, prodigies that are coming up. So, no
No, of
surprise
course.
there.
I think one of the biggest things with India is that people are slowly discovering the amount of potential that there is there. I mean, for example, when cricket first became like a big thing in India, right?
Mm.
It was when it was the possibility of beating the British at something,
Mm.
like being
Yeah.
able to stick it up to your former colonizer is obviously a very attractive way of spending your day.
Yeah.
So obviously the first World Championship, I don't know if you know, but the West Indies beat the UK in the
Really?
first World Cup ever in the final.
I
And
don't know.
then I think on the fifth one, I'm not sure which one, but then India beat the UK in the final as well, and then eventually India became the home of cricket because there is so much talent in India if they actually focus on something, especially because of the sheer amount of people that there is.
That's
Like
the thing.
people fail to recognize that part of it, right? Which is that, for example, there's this whole stereotype that Indians and Chinese are very smart. But the reason behind it is because there is a lot of people there, and
Yeah.
usually the people that you meet are the ones that stuck out of the pack.
Mm.
So
Of course.
it's quite interesting to see these Indian players, you know, come up on the scene, because it's not something very usual. You don't really see that many, Indian people excelling in this kind of thing. Usually it's like, cricket and I guess technology, and that's it. But it's good to see that, it's becoming more open of a culture. And you can tell, I mean, with all the Indians on YouTube, everyone just like, having this sort of epiphany in India of, technology and all these modern
Mm.
wonders that weren't accessible to everyone before. I think it's amazing.
No,
And
I agree. I
yeah.
agree. Which I mean, the thing is, speaking of India, we should recognize that the majority of our viewers are actually Indian.
Yeah,
At
I
least the
know.
statistics tell us that. So.
Yeah, yeah. The statistics say that 50% of our last videos, so the Sunday chat on the Euros, were Indians, which is about like 200 viewers out of the 400. Hello, Indians. I love
Yeah.
you all.
So shout out to the
Um,
Indian community.
just sub, guys. Sub. What is wrong with you?
But yeah.
No, no, but yeah, it is. I commend you all for your great achievements, to be honest. And yeah, I think this brings the conclusion to the podcast, unless Lenny has something else to say.
I think it's all good on my end as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, just remember to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the content, and to see more of us just having a conversation while you're obviously doing some other thing. And yeah, I mean, leave a comment if you have any ideas on what you want us to start the conversation with, or little things you want us to discuss. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.